my name is Angie and I live in France. I have lived in France for about a decade. In this video, I'll be answering questions I get, especially from Americans all the time about how to move to France. So like and subscribe and we'll get right into it. It can be hard to move here, especially if you do not speak French. This isn't Emily in Paris. You're gonna have to learn at least some French. Honestly, the more you speak, the better it is. In case you don't, like I did not speak a word of French when I got here. Here are 3 ways you can do this. Number 1. Classroom learning. So it's important to learn the ground rules and the grammar of any language. And interestingly enough, there are free classes provided by the French government. If you are a beginner and you just got to France, you can take classes for free. Number 2, when you now know the ground rules and the grammar, and you just need to practice and get some vocabulary, there are other institutions, private institutions, like the Alliance Française, or apps and websites like Duolingo that you can go to. And step number 3, when you know the grammar, you know the rules, you have the vocabulary in your head, find a native speaker so you can do a language exchange with someone who speaks French. That will prompt you to respond very quickly and naturally. In my case, when I came to France, I had a tutor she was more like a retiree who spoke perfect English. Hi, Jamie. So she knew if I made a mistake, she knew how to translate it so I wouldn't get all flustered. And again, as I said, she was a retiree, so she had a lot of time. And she also had a way of asking me very controversial questions. That way, it forces you to translate in French, even if you're emotional. Language exchange is a very good idea. France has a pretty straightforward immigration system. It requires lots and lots and lots and lots of paperwork, and then that paperwork has to be translated into French. But the good thing is, those requirements are the same across the board. And once you hand in the proper required paperwork and translate it into French, honestly, everything afterwards is a breeze, including healthcare. France has a very extensive transportation system. The infrastructure is huge. That means the practical elements of moving or getting around here can be really simple if you plan accordingly. Like most of Europe, if you live in a city, having a car can be a hassle. It can be more of a hassle than a help. Now, if you live in the countryside, that's obviously a different story. In a city, having a bike can help you a lot. A good, dependable bike can be found reasonably. People in the cities also get around on scooters, on motos or motorbikes, you call them, on any kind of 2-wheeled or even 1-wheeled device. Pick your poison, but just know that getting around with a car in any French city, like a lot of big cities actually, like New York City, having a car in the center makes life a little difficult. It's the same here. Most folks in the city are finding alternatives to owning a car. It's just better. There are subscriptions to city cars and also city bikes. And in addition, the buses and trains run hyper efficiently, almost to the second. And if you're going to take a road trip across the country or to the beach or to go skiing in the mountains, you can always rent a car. According to the French embassy, Americans can stay in France without working for up to 3 months on a tourist visa. If you want to stay longer than that, you will have to apply for a work visa. The problem is you would have had to have secured a job before you can apply for the work visa. Like in any foreign country, finding a job in France is not particularly easy, especially if you don't speak French. Thankfully, despite what some people might have you believe, it's not impossible. Once you've mastered the language, it can open so many doors. So patience is key. Is definitely one of those countries that favors a slower pace of life. So things like vacations, Paris and other big cities are notoriously shut down in August due to summer vacation. Relationships, those are highly prioritized here. Friends here, I've noticed, are like siblings compared to other cultures. If you're someone who likes to live in a country where everyone has health insurance, high quality food is accessible to everyone, and public transportation can be better sometimes than even owning a car, then look no further. Education in France is, how do I say this? Free. Don't get me wrong, you have private schools that may cost a little bit more and which may or may not be better than the public schools. It depends on where you live. But by and large, it's a system that was built so that no one gets left behind. And another thing about the French education, when speaking about universities, there are private and public universities, but when you think about the French equivalent to the Harvards and the MITs and the Princetons and the Stanfords, those are all public here and free. You just have to get in. And the luck stops here because these are schools that are notoriously hard to get into. You really had to work the work and walk the walk. But like French bureaucracy, it's a pain in the beginning, but once you're in, you're in. And the clout that comes from attending one of these prestigious schools follows you for the rest of your life, even more so than Anglophone countries. France has what you call a temperate climate, so it's neither too hot nor too cold. But we do have seasons, and the weather changes significantly with those seasons. So bring warm clothing as well as light clothing so you're ready for every season. We may not have been the first people to walk on the moon, but dental care, free.
X-rays,
Free.
birth control,
Free.
vaccination,
Free.
IVF treatments,
Free.
broken bones,
Still free.
having a baby.
Free. You get the idea. It's called universal healthcare. We all pay a little bit more so that no one person has to suffer. about you. So all in all, if you like history, old cultures, and really, really fantastic food, you should look into it. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll see you in my next video.